Hello, I am the real-life fake wizard. Today, I am going to discuss the recent announcement from Microsoft that they will be raising the prices of controllers, consoles, accessories, and most importantly, the games. Prices of all first-party Xbox games are going to increase to $80 per title by the end of this year. This announcement is disgusting. Say what you want about the consoles and physical gear prices, those are related to the tariffs, and we will talk more about that in a minute. But games do not have any right to be $80. Most of the games coming out of Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony alike are universally some flavor of mid or mediocre. Certainly seldom are worth the actual asking price of $70. My friends, the entire idea that companies can charge this much money for games that are mediocre, unpolished, and unfinished is only possible because of gamers who slurped up the Nintendo Switch 2. I told you this was going to happen. I made quite a few videos discussing that exactly this was what was down the pipeline. I had no idea it would be here so soon. Many people said I was crazy or being dramatic, but I also know that there was many of you who agreed with me. The entertainment corporations have one goal and one goal only, and that's to get the most money out of you for the smallest value given. A few weeks ago, people blasted the Nintendo live chat, screeching, "Drop the price," in reference to Mario Kart World being priced at $80. Fast forward a few weeks, and Switch 2 pre-orders sold out in seconds here in the United States. It sold out in seconds all over the world, and gamers proved a very harsh truth and sad reality. And many of you are not going to like me saying this. You're all bark. That's all it is. Words. Words with no action. And look, I know a couple of YouTubers weren't going to cause the Switch 2 to not sell out. I made that very clear in all my videos as well. We kind of knew that this was going to happen. But we have to be real. Of all the people screeching drop the price, many of them bought the console. Or many of them are still trying. The point that I'm going to be discussing here in this video is that gamers get what gamers deserve. You only get what you're willing to fight for. Very briefly, who am I? I am the real-life fake wizard. By day, I am a small business owner. I am speaking to this issue as someone who has been educated in business and marketing, and also, I'm an avid gamer, spending copious hours of my free time engaging in video games. I am speaking to this controversy as a business-minded individual and a consumer of these products. Let's set the stage here. We just witnessed Nintendo burn lots of the goodwill they've amassed over the last decade and lose a considerable amount of their day one most loyal fans in their avarice and choice to increase prices on their games. Lots of people have opted out. I'm not saying they haven't. Lots of Nintendo fans are no longer Nintendo fans. But then the pre-orders go live, and of course, the Switch 2 sells out instantly. Not even a complete week later, Microsoft sees this and raises the prices on their games too, with Sony in the wings allegedly announcing changes to their marketing strategy in just a few weeks. So that's all, folks. Gaming is going to cost $80 per game now. That's the world we live in. But you know what shines a giant floodlight on this whole thing? A few weeks ago, we saw the shadow drop release of Oblivion Remastered, and you know what? That game is incredible. It's still incredible 20 years later. And you compare that to something like Assassin's Creed Shadows and all the other games that get released these days, and we realize, oh, modern AAA games are garbage compared to the games of the past. Oblivion is a 500-hour game, like, easily, with 250 quests and endless dungeons to explore. Again, it's 20 years old, and it's got more playability than Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is repetitively boring after the first 4 hours. You get 4 hours in, and it's the same exact rotation for the next 60 hours. But another game came out the same week as Oblivion. Claire Obscure Expedition 33. This is technically an indie title made by a French studio that had under 40 people on the development team. I have played this game to completion. It is one of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had. The story, the soundtrack, the characters, the gameplay, the humor. This game's got great humor for something that deals with endless tragedy. And of course, the Sekiro-esque combat system, which kicked my ass because my parry timing is awful. And yet, it was addictingly fun. Again, a team of under 40 people made this. It's visually stunning. It's a game that sits with you long after the credits roll and you have to process when it's over. And it's only $50. Oblivion Remastered was only $50. Atomfall was a AA game that came out a few months ago. That was also only $50. And these games are important to bring up because they're not AAA. They're not from Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, BioWare, EA, Epic. They're not from the largest developers, and yet they were $50 each, or $20 for the lot of them if you rented them on Game Pass. So you look at that and then you zoom out and see that now AAA games are going to cost $80, and they're not even that good. They're not even worth it. And if AAA games are going to go up in price, so will the next Call of Duty, so will World of Warcraft, so will indie games. Yeah, Expedition 33 launched for $50, and it's being beloved by everyone. And I also think that the price point added a few points to elevate how much everyone loves this game, because there's a sensation of value received for something so great for so little. There's actually a whole economic lesson in a discussion like that. We'll save that for another time. But Wizard, this has everything to do with the tariffs and the orange bad man in the White House. You are exhausting. No, it doesn't. The prices of Xbox consoles are elevating in claims of Microsoft being reactionary to the tariffs on China. Firstly, there are still warehouses all over the United States loaded with Xbox Series systems. People were not lining up to buy Xboxes, okay? There is no Xbox shortage, and there definitely won't be with these massive price increases. So, see, there's manipulation there. It's not like people were trying to get their hands on the last Xbox available. The raising of the prices is a series of strategy points. Firstly, it's a form of misdirection. With everyone focusing on the tariffs and using the Orange Man as a scapegoat for their marketing strategy, it hides the fact they're raising prices on the games. And the games have nothing to do with tariffs. Nothing. Digital games have no association to the China tariffs. Secondly, do you remember COVID? I do. I remember COVID. Remember when the world kind of shut down, and in that time there were lots and lots of companies complaining about supply chain? Well, with the world shut down, it was harder for everyone to get their hands on new products. And so the corporations said, sorry, we need to raise our prices, everyone. It's because of the supply chain. And that's what they did. They raised their prices. And even though the world had gone to hell and we had awful leadership around the world, corporations reported record profits, because inside of those elevated prices, these companies were able to report massive successes to their shareholders. So even after COVID was over, did those prices ever come back down? No. Most things are even more expensive to this day without earning those inflated prices. It's not really inflation, it's artificial inflation. That's actually another reason I don't take the dumbass inflation argument seriously either. These companies pick and choose prices based on what's going to get them the most in profit at any time, all the time. They don't care to show you any respect or mercy at all. Okay, but let's continue that thought. It's inflation, Wizard. Xbox is charging more money because of inflation. No, I disagree. Because the perceived value of the thing hasn't changed. You're not getting more game for more money. In fact, you're getting less. Games ship in more broken states than they have before. And I'm actually going to be able to use Expedition 33 as the greatest line of defense to literally every other argument these shills could make. Oh, it's inflation. Expedition 33 was $50. What's Ubisoft's excuse for being 70? 33 is a better experience. Oh, they need to pay the devs more. I mean, sure, but Expedition 33 was done with under 40 people. Why do all the AAA teams need to be so bloated? Gaming is a luxury hobby. I'm not cheap. or poor. No, you're just an unempathetic narcissist asshole who thinks they sound more upper class by spending $80 on Mario Kart. I bet you stick your pinky out while you're drinking your morning apple juice that your mom pours for you after you crawl out of bed at noon on a Tuesday, because it's gotta be hard being a perpetually single, unemployed Reddit moderator full time. It costs more to make games now. Yeah, why are the budgets so big? Didn't Assassin's Creed Shadows have a 2-hour-long credit sequence? I've played that game. Not all those people needed to be on that project. Again, why is there so much bloat? Maybe there shouldn't be. But look, all of this is just reacting to idiot shills and defenders of Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony. None of that really matters because it's just all of us arguing on Twitter and here in the comments of YouTube. I said before, and in the title of this video, gamers get what gamers deserve. You are in control of the market. You, yourself. You watching this right now while sitting on the toilet. Together, we are part of this marketplace. When a company puts out products and services that do not serve the betterment of the customers have every right to speak not with their words, but with their wallets. You can speak with your words too, but it doesn't mean anything. Are you angry about Nintendo games being $80? Are you upset about Xbox games being $80? Sony is going to announce $80 games in a few days. Does that make you mad? You know you can fight back by choosing to stop buying. Like, that's it. And when is enough enough? At what point will you finally be activated to care, right? $100, $110, $120? At what point will you be kicked in the ass to care? Not now, when? Please let me know. Because that's the solution. Wake up. There is this shared belief that corporations are too big to fail. That's not true. If people choose actively to stop giving these companies money, they will collapse. Bankruptcy would be a beautiful thing to see for many of these companies. You know why? Because it means the customers, you and me, we would be the ones in control of the market. Now, Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft don't want you to believe this truth. They want you to keep slurping up the regurgitated crap they keep releasing. And they want more money out of you for less and less value given. You think Game Pass isn't going to raise its prices next? You think indie games are going to stay cheap? Expedition 33 was $50 on release. Put a game like that out a year from now. It could have been $60 or $70, a much less welcoming price point. And that's when we see the real problem with these companies jacking up prices. It's the end of volume. Yeah, look at Target or Walmart. You have a game at $70 and perhaps 3 people might have bought it on a single day. Well, now that everything is $80, maybe only one of those 3 buy it. In a way, those companies will report that they're still getting sales, and when you multiply it out, maybe they're seeing a 2 to 3% increase in sales profit. But there are less and less people buying those games. There will be less and less people buying all of the games with higher prices, which will eventually hurt everyone. This will impact indies. This will impact fresh and original ideas. This effort to squeeze pennies out of you will cost us all dollars in the long run. Where's my evidence of this? Have you been to a movie theater lately? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. Being a gamer is ridiculous these days. The consoles are expensive, and they continue to increase in price, only to be met with games that are less and less inspiring at perpetually raising prices. So maybe you'll say, okay, screw Nintendo and Sony, I'm gonna make a gaming PC. And you do. And let's say you spend a few $1,000s making a powerhouse. Well, your effort is returned with companies putting malware-like software into their games in the form of DRMs, anti-pirate, and anti-cheats that actually make the game run horribly on your masterpiece computer. So you come down to a point of, well, PC, DRM nonsense, or console nonsense. And it comes down to all entertainment corporations doing everything they can just to get the most out of you. Have you walked around a mall lately? You know, you got the stores like GameStop and FYE and what used to be the Disney stores here in the States. You know, the places that have pop culture merchandise. You go into any of those lately? You know, you go into an FYE here in the States, and you'll see ridiculously expensive merch for every brand and IP you could think of. Star Wars, Star Trek, animes, Disney, Pokemon, Godzilla, you know, tons of brands. I found myself in there a few days ago, and walking around, there's a sense of meaninglessness now when you go into these places. Not just because of how outrageously expensive everything is, but because there's no more emotional value to any of these properties anymore. I feel nothing for them. And that's not to do with age or anything like that. It has to do with the fact that every single property that we all loved has been brutally destroyed by corporations that took those properties and squeezed every ounce of love, passion, and emotional connection out of them. And even after they've killed all those properties, they haven't learned from those mistakes at all. Now they're going to ruin the mediums themselves. Going to the movies has been destroyed. Streaming feels empty and soulless. And gaming itself is what is under attack right now. All in the name of corporate greed and maximizing profits. All over the world, there are moms and dads who pre-ordered the Switch 2 because they want to play games with their kids. I don't judge them as harshly because maybe, just maybe, they don't know what's going on. But if you're in the know, if you've watched any of my videos detailing how awful the circumstances are here, if you have any inkling of a clue about what's really at play, and you chose actively to give these corporations any of your money, you choose to do that, I can't promise I won't judge you. You're a cog in the machine, unthinking, incapable of showing a shred of willpower against a greed machine that doesn't give a damn about you. You know, in a few months, when we see people in public playing Switch 2s and whatnot, friends, family, it's going to be a feeling of strangeness. It's going to be a feeling of looking at these people and thinking, you slurped up the milkshake, huh? I hope Mario Kart was worth it. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire, and for the love of God, cancel Disney+. See you soon. Be well.